Welcome. Deadline day live. The big day in the calendar year for the Jack and Joe show, which is live. Joe Sansom, happy deadline day.
Happy deadline day, Jack. Yep, bookmarked in my calendar years in advance, obviously.
Yes.
I've already got the 2025 one in. Excited. And Jack, I feel like this is the first time that we've done one of these when we've announced, and a winter one, I should say, where we've announced a player before going live. I feel like that's not happened
just
before.
waited. Yeah, to be fair, the Lukic deal was on the cards for quite a while. There was a bit of touch and go this morning about it, about certain things, but it's done. Actually, I saw a picture of him, or in fact, we all saw a picture of him in a Fulham shirt before it was announced by the club.
Way, what an absolutely terrible photo that is. Like, there's just, he's wearing a shirt, but he's also holding another shirt. And then the shirt's all like crumbled up like it hasn't ever seen an iron. But got to say, Jack, I'm really, really thrilled about this deal. Like, I feel like until last week, we weren't expecting a high caliber signing this window, really. We were thinking, we might get a reserve right back. We'll come on to that. We might get a reserve central midfielder. But, I mean, he seems like a real quality addition, almost like the sort of signing we'd be expecting to make next summer after staying up. So, I'm thrilled with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've seen an awful lot of him.
No, me neither. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to claim that I know loads about him.
But people like Jack J. Collins, who I'm sure will be on the Thursday club before the Chelsea game, might be able to give us a little bit more insight into him as he watches the Serie A more than I do and more than you do. So apparently he can play 6 and an 8, which is perfect because that's basically Harrison Reed's role as well. So just competition for Harrison Reed adds a bit of more depth into midfield. And, well, I've heard good things. And obviously he played in the World Cup. So what I might do is actually go back and watch some of those sort of compilations. I haven't actually had the time to sort of sit down and watch him. Compilations, the sort of things that you see on YouTube. So I'll have a look before the Chelsea game. But because he's in now, we've got a game on Friday, he could be in the squad. He could be in the squad.
Who better to be next to Palhinha in midfield than another hard-hitting Serbian? I can't wait. Over the bridge. Really excited for that game, which we'll come on to. I messaged on Twitter Lou Orns, who's a Watford fan that does some great player analysis on Twitter. I asked him yesterday what his thoughts were on Lukic, because his reaction to seeing that we were going to sign him was basically saying that is very, very cheap. And the fee that we think it is around £8 million. That equates to about 10 million euros-ish. And he said, I like him a lot. He's played various roles for Torino, but has been the best in the midfield too, with freedom at times to get forward. Clean technician, good passer, and very good off the ball in terms of pressing high in a structure. Overall, a smart footballer, and he doesn't think Juric, who's the Torino manager, will be happy. So, I mean, it's great news. I mean, we're sort of thinking, where does his role fit in? I mean, you think he's got to be depth for Palhinha and Harrison Reed's positions as either the 6 or 8. And, we have to be thinking of next year, what are positions that we can improve? There's several across the pitch. I think we could improve our midfield. And out of the 3 players, as much as I love all 3 of them, not equally, because João Palhinha, God, but Palhinha, Reed and Pereira, who is the most replaceable? And I mean, this is no slant on him whatsoever. It's probably Harrison Reed.
Which is such a shame as well.
Which is a huge shame, but it's just one of those where you can probably get a number 8 that has more of a goal threat. It's not a slant on him at all. And I don't think Lukic is coming in to take his place immediately whatsoever. No. But long term, that's probably the target.
And even then, we've got the replay against Sunderland. It could be a perfect time to play a Harrison Reed in that game and then rotate for the game against Forest, which will. Oh, I wonder. You know what? Thinking about the Jack and Joe show with the Sunderland game. But after missing a penalty, Adebayo was scored in the 89th minute for Luton Town.
My dad will be thrilled. He's got a bet on which involves Luton.
Someone downstairs, yeah. But Adebayo, of course, and Cardiff in trouble, and Sabri Lamouchi's first game in charge. Obviously, that's the Championship. This is deadline day, but it did grab my attention there. Wow, 161 people watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. I think the plan is to go, perhaps maybe not to 11, depending on what is done and dusted, because it looks like we do know what's going to happen. But if something late, a late twist, incoming or outgoing, I'm sure we can maybe stretch it to 11 and see what happens. We've also got a very special guest coming into the stream very, very shortly. And yeah, we're going to talk not only transfers, but we're going to talk about the game at the weekend, the replay, and Chelsea. Get your questions in. And it's going to be one of those streams where, one person's talking, the other person look at their phone just to see if anything's happening. But, right
Jack,
now,
it's all
Joe,
our in-the-know sources on the phone, like Darmesh Chef.
We'll see what happens tonight. I think it's going to be a quiet one. We already know what's going on, but you just never know. And obviously, if there's some big deals going on in the Premier League as well, just whack them in the comments and we'll react to them as and when they happen. Right.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Sunderland game then briefly?
Let's go for it. Yeah. Annoying result. Let's face it. Replay is probably, well, by the way, I completely disagree that a replay is worse than a loss. Completely disagree with that, because we're most likely fine in the Premier League. Why not have a cup run? If we were to beat Sunderland and beat Leeds, who the winner will play, you're one win away from Wembley. I mean, when you put it like that, it's way easier said than done. We could lose on Wednesday. That's not a bad run to Wembley at all. But they will both be thinking that as well. But the Sunderland game, I think that Sunderland came and they started. Well, did they even start that well? We gifted them a goal.
A goal, yeah.
And
but they pressed
us. Completely raises the confidence of a team. The fans were phenomenal, let's face it.
I'll say this now. The Sunderland fans were the best fans I've seen at Craven Cottage for 7-8 years.
And I want to make a note on that. I've had enough of people going on about Craven Cottage's acoustics. If we can hear the Sunderland fans like that, they would be able to hear the Hammersmith end if we could make it like they did. Do you know what I mean?
I was in the Johnny Haynes and it was very quiet.
Oh, really? Oh, on the Hammersmith end?
I was in the Johnny Haynes.
In general.
And from the Hammersmith, I heard 1 or 2 songs, and that was after we equalised.
Yeah. It's, the Sunderland, like the way that they were pressing us, they were very happy to sit off the ball, but they broke very quickly. Patrick Roberts had a great game on his return to the club. Diallo looked very dangerous, and they always looked like they were going to cause us issues throughout, even when we were dominating the ball. And we mustn't forget that, yes, they're a championship side, but they're pushing towards the playoffs. They're having a great season, a young, promising team. And, I was impressed with them. I do think that I expected more from some of our fringe players. We made 7 changes. These are the players that should be knocking at the door, trying to get a start. And aside from Solomon and a couple of other decent performances, like Kearney had his moments, obviously with a great goal, I don't think anyone really proved why they should be involved. I don't know if you disagree with that, Jack.
Yeah, no, I was disappointed. And actually, I don't want to bash a player because I enjoy every player that we've got, but Liva Kazoa, albeit he got an assist and a goal in the last round, I wasn't convinced by his performance. I think the chemistry he had down that left-hand side with Solomon, I don't know how many minutes they played. I think that might be the first time they played together. But you compare it to the likes of Robinson and Willian, which I've seen down that left-hand side many a time this season. Like, it's chalk and cheese, really. They weren't on the same wavelength, and it really was Solomon picking up the pieces and trying to make things happen. Wilson as well had a poor first half. He sort of stepped up in the second half and got a couple of shots away. I'm willing to give Wilson the benefit of the doubt, given he had the injury. But Solomon looks a hell of an exciting player. And I knew, obviously when he signed, we were excited about him. He was so unlucky to get injured, but I know it was only Sunderland, and I think they played well. Sunderland, I respected the way they approached the game, but I think he could tear Premier League defenders a new one, and I just can't wait to see him play against hopefully Chelsea. I think he deserves that start on Friday. Kenny was good. Paulinho was good as well. Not the best game he's ever had in the world, but Let's get someone else's opinion on the Sunderland game. Let's bring in Jack Stroudly. He's going to be joining us. Jack, thank you so much for filling in for Joe over the last few weeks. Welcome to the stream. Your thoughts on today as a whole and the Sunderland game.
Firstly, hello. Thanks for having me. Joe, I don't think me and you have ever been in the same room together. So
I know.
I think this is the closest we're ever going to get, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think this finally confirms that we are not the same person and I'm not just Jack Stroudly minus the cap and beard. Thanks for coming on. Jack, firstly, you're there on Friday night?
I am there, of course.
I'm thrilled. And do let us know if you're in the comments right now and you're not a troll, that you can let us know if you're coming on Friday. Are you in the upper tier? Are you in the lower tier? I'm sure it's going to be a great atmosphere either way. Jack, what were your thoughts on Stroudly? I'm going to need to make that clear. Stroudly, what were your thoughts on the Sunderland game? And what are you thinking about the replay? Are you still on the same page that after seeing the cup draw that this is a big opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge game. Firstly, we'll go back to the Sunderland game on the weekend. Frustrating, I think, is probably the word I would describe it as. Frustrating. Obviously, the goal we conceded so early on, that's the last thing you want to do in one of these games. Sunderland packed out the away end, and once they get a goal, that's it. They're just going to sit back and have everyone behind the ball. Which, while they did that, they obviously still had their chances as well. I thought Amad Diallo and Patrick Roberts were both absolutely phenomenal, and they really targeted Livan Gazawa, who I really didn't think had a particularly strong game.
Yeah.
Not many people did, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Manor Solomon was probably Fulham's best player. He looked very lively. If we were going to create anything, it was always going to come from Manor. I know obviously Kearney scored, so it's very easy to say that Kearney had a good game, but I thought Kearney was okay as well. Polinia looked a little bit leggy.
Yeah.
Tete was okay, but I think it kind of shows the need that we probably do need one or two additional players, which obviously I'm sure I'll get into. And then in regards to the replay, firstly, I'm definitely not going. I was,
a man with some sense.
I was contemplating it. And I saw that the rumor was it was going to be announced on the Wednesday, and I was thinking, oh my god, I'm off work. I literally have no excuse now. But then I saw that I think coaches are like £30, and and it's on telly, and I'm just I just. Although it would be a tick for me, I cannot justify it in the slightest, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone hasn't seen that the BBC have picked up the Sunderland game, thank God. It's the sort of trip that maybe a year ago I would have done, no questions asked. But I'm getting to that point now where it's on BBC. When the game finishes, you're like, I'm already home, or I'm already 5 minutes down. We might go to the pub and watch it with a few friends because that would be a good motive. But I respect everyone who goes. It's a long journey, especially if you're getting the coach. If you stay in the night, then obviously that's a good motive as well. Guimaraes sent off. Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to stay at home for that one, and which is a shame because Sunderland is a great ground. I'm sure it'll be a cracking atmosphere, but the fact is midweek, I can't justify it at this moment in time. But yeah, big game coming up as well with Chelsea as well. But let's just recap quickly. So Sasa Lukic has signed. That's done. He's here and he's perfect. And
he's very happy as well.
Yeah, what's this whole happy thing?
He just said happy twice in his video.
It is like video to the fans. He said, "Hi, my name's Sasa Lukic. I'm happy to be here." Instead of saying I'm very happy.
Happy, clappy.
I loved it.
He's just a big fan of the Pharrell Williams song. That's all it
is. Cedric apparently is in a medical at the moment, or doing a medical. I guess that will be announced later this evening, hopefully while we're on stream. Shall we talk Chelsea away? That's the big one. Obviously, we only played them the other day, and we beat them. But hopefully this time Mitrovic will play, because actually going back on the Sunderland game, Vinicius was poor.
Yeah,
and there was a big lift. I don't even know if there was ironic cheers when Vinicius came off, or everyone was just excited to see Mitrovic come on. Obviously, Mitrovic did make some sort of difference when he did come on. But thoughts on Chelsea? Let's start with Jack. What are you saying for Friday night?
I was a lot more confident a few weeks ago than I am this Friday, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it was a bit of a perfect storm for us. And, Chelsea were really struggling. We were on fine form and, it kind of seemed like everything was coming together. Whereas this time, I mean, it's difficult to say because we Newcastle and Tottenham, if you lose those games as a team of Fulham, it's not the end of the world. But, you can't argue with the fact we're now 3 without a win, and that includes that Sunderland game. And Chelsea have obviously signed the world, who they're all going to want to impress. They've spent big money, and Enzo Fernandez looks like he might still come in as well. And I think it's going to be a very, very tricky game. But I also think it's a game that I don't think either side particularly want at the moment in terms of like the squad. I don't think Fulham are going to want it because we're sick to death of playing the bigger clubs. To be perfectly honest with you, that's all we seem to have done for the last kind of month or so, give or take. And Chelsea aren't going to want it because they know how up for it we're going to be, and they've got a lot of kind of new players who are going to want to start off, fresh and playing a game against the Fulham side who hopefully are going to be up for it. While and as well as the fans, it's going to be a tricky one, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, whether they sign Enzo Fernandez or not, Chelsea need to turn a corner. They need to. They didn't play last week in the FA Cup. They were knocked out by City. They drew 0-0 to Liverpool in a game that Mudryk came on and impressed. And I'm sure that, Mudryk, Havertz, Sterling, that's dangerous, isn't it? And obviously a midfield without Jorginho now, he's joined Arsenal. Seems to happen every season now. A Chelsea player who's a bit of a part of the deadwood goes to Arsenal, but Arsenal in a very different situation. Kamara sent off the exact same foul Son made the other day. That's annoying. But hey, Joe Sansom, your thoughts on Chelsea and what we could bring to the game and what we might be up against?
Yeah, echo everything that you both said. It's going to be a really tough game. I would, to be honest, snap your hand off for a point right now. They have a few key players back that they didn't have last time that you've mentioned, but also defensively, Reece James most likely back. It looks like there's a chance that Chilwell will be back, albeit a small one. But I think the place we can really get at them is midfield. They've let go of Jorginho. Kante's still out. I think Kovacic has got a little knock. I'm not sure if he's back. And if they don't sign Enzo Fernandez, we could be looking at a Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek pivot or Mount pivot, which is fine, but we can get at it, I reckon. And I feel like Palhinha next to Harrison Reed, Lukic off the bench, Pereira, pushing up behind Mitrovic, I reckon we can get at them. And I really do think we can cause them issues. But I'd like to see a hell of a lot more going forward from Fulham than we've seen in the last 3 games, including Sunderland. I thought that against Newcastle, we were leggy, understandable. We'd had a quick turnaround and playing a very good defensive team. And then when we played against Tottenham, we just didn't really seem to get going after that initial half an hour where we could and should have probably taken the lead. So it's one of those where I think we need to start well and actually manage to keep it going this time. But they're low on confidence. They may have signed a lot of decent players, but we can still 100% get at them. And I think quite simply, if we score first, I think we've got a great chance of winning the game, let alone drawing it. If we let anyone in first, I don't know. I'm a bit nervous at the moment breaking teams down once we go behind, because I think we struggled against Tottenham. Newcastle's harsh. We lost in the last minute, so there wasn't much time. But Sunderland, we did really struggle to break them down, even after the equaliser. So I really hope that we see a positive reaction from the Fulham players. And I really do hope that we put in a performance to be proud of, like we did at home, because I know that the João Felix red card turned things in our favour, but we mustn't forget that in that first half against them, we were by far the better team and we deserved to be winning. Mm-hmm. And they'd had a little spell when they hadn't done too much coming forward aside from the scrappy goal. So I really do think that this is a big chance for us to get another result against Chelsea. And, saying that in itself is another great indictment of how this season's gone, because we can go to these games and we're not fearing a defeat. We might be, thinking this is going to be a tough game, but I'm not going there expecting to get battered like I normally do. I go in hope rather than expectation, whereas now I'm expecting a good performance from the team.
Well, they'll be without Hakim Ziyech, who's now off to PSG on loan until the remainder of the season. Bournemouth have also completed the signing of Hamad Traore from Sassuolo on an initial loan with an obligation to buy for 30 million euros. Bournemouth doing the business today. Of course, it is deadline day, but we have a lot more to talk about in terms of the Chelsea game. And because there's three of us here, let's sort of rally together and pick a team. I suppose we all agree Leno will start in goal.
Yeah.
A back four of Tete, Diop, Ream, and Robinson.
Yeah, I think there's maybe an argument for Tosin after, I don't know, maybe after Diop's mistake against Sunderland, but I can't see it. I think it will be Diop.
I think dropping Diop after a mistake in an FA Cup game in a West London derby would be slightly a hit on his confidence. I don't think that's necessarily necessary.
It is interesting though when we played Chelsea at home and Silva got asked why he played Tosin, he basically said that he was looking at the opposition. So if you're going off that, it wouldn't surprise me if Tosin played. Although personally, I'm with you guys. I think that Diop is the better defender. He made a bad mistake on Saturday, yes, but I would play the stronger defender rather than probably the stronger, ball player in Tosin. I think that it should be Diop next to Ream myself.
Okay, so midfield, Jack, what would you go for?
I think it's Polinia, Reed, Pereira. I'd like to say Sasa Lukic, but I think it's a little bit too early to be perfectly honest with you. I think he'll be on the bench. It wouldn't shock me if he, maybe made a cameo off the bench, but I don't think he'll start. So I think it'll just be the same midfield that we've become accustomed to.
And then Joe, the front three, what would you go with? This is interesting.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So I'm not sure if you guys will disagree, but I definitely think that Mitrovic up front is, self-explanatory. I think that Willian on the left is this. Willian. Oh, this is actually tough because I was going to say Willian on the left as always, but I think that Solomon deserves a start. Yeah. And I think that Solomon played really well on the left wing. So perhaps move Willian to the right where he played against Forest away and performed well. And I think that would be my front three. But even in saying that, I doubted myself slightly. I think that would be mine. Stroudly, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I like Bobby Reid. He's had a fantastic season, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit in the last few games, and the attack has been stale. When with Solomon, coming back into the swing of things, and he looked quite good against Sunderland, it seems like a perfect opportunity to freshen things up. The only other players are Wilson and James, and I can't. There's no way I think either of them start. I didn't think Harry Wilson played particularly well against Sunderland, and it's frustrating because we all know the player that he is, but he seems to be really struggling since that knee injury.
Yeah, I was just saying before you came on, I was going to cut him a bit of slack given the fact he's had an injury and stuff. But last season, Birmingham 0, Blackburn 1 in the FA Cup replay. I don't know who they play in the next round, but I'm not sure.
They're all opposition in our mission to finally bring the cup home. So screw them all.
Leave her, Fulham.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Wilson. There is a player in there, and last season he was so good for us, wasn't he? Under Marco in the Championship. So willing to give him more time. So if we do sign Cedric on loan, it does mean that the talk is we're going to make a pronounced Sasha, not Sasa, boys. Okay, Sasha Lukic, as in Sasha Retha. Of course, we've actually, before we come on to Duffy, let's just seeing a lot of people saying tributes to Maradona. We have to sort of, touch on both Onoma and Chalobah. Who was it? It was trusty own goal. Gosh, right. Onoma scored that incredible goal in the playoffs against Cardiff. He also scored a really important goal against Birmingham in the 90th minute under Parker in that dreadful game of football.
The winner. Didn't he score the winner at home to Leeds as well?
And scored the winner at home to Leeds. Yeah, that was an interesting game. And we'll touch on Michael Hector a little bit later as well. Your thoughts on the departure? Obviously, it's good news to get rid of the so-called deadwood and the transition we're now making, and the way the squad looks great. But your thoughts on their services and the new clubs?
I'll start. Josh Onoma. I think Josh Onoma deserves a fair bit of credit for what he's done for Fulham. To be perfectly honest with you, I think as well. surprised me. I think that also people forget the start of last season. I thought Josh Onomah was absolutely fantastic in those first few games. You know, I remember Huddersfield and Millwall away. I remember him being a really, really solid player, and I thought, you know, he's going to be a key member of this side for Marco Silva. And then I'm pretty sure he picked up an injury. And then Seri started to come into the swing of things, and Chalobah, who I'll get onto, started to come into the swing of things, and then he kind of fell down the pecking order. But I'm glad that he's finally got his move and that he's playing football regularly. I'm surprised he's gone to Preston. I thought he'd maybe get a slightly better move than Preston, but I think look, he's playing football, and that's the most important thing. And he does. There's been a lot of people saying thank you to Josh Onomah on Twitter today, and I think it is all warranted. I think he's done a lot for the club. Chalobah, on the other hand, look, he had that really good game against Birmingham away last season, there were times last year when we needed him to come in and deputise, but it was very clear that he wasn't a Premier League player. I think we all saw that, particularly, obviously, the game that sticks out like a sore thumb is that Newcastle at home game where Paulinho was suspended and he just made the most just ludicrous challenge and got sent off. But yeah, it's a shame to see them go, but in a way it's not, because obviously we need to get rid of the dead wood, and we've signed Sasa Lukic, and there were rumours about other midfielders, but it's smart from Fulham slowly getting these players that really aren't going to play a part out of the club.
Joe, what do you think?
I think that's exactly it. It's about making that bench Premier League quality as well, because when you look at it, there's a few definite Premier League quality players there, but I think the midfield options were lacking. I feel that a second midfielder would have been great. I don't know if that's a bit greedy. I know the links to Sander Berger sort of died down this afternoon, but we were linked with a £20 million deal, and you know what an upgrade that would have been from going from Onomah and Chalobah to Berger and Sasa Lukic. I do feel. Oh, what's that grin? What's happened? Transfer news.
Well, it's just Enzo Fernandez. It's a here we go sort of situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a shame. Well, you know, fingers crossed that the deal sheet doesn't end up in the shredder. I mean, actually, I do hope that. I hope it ends up in the shredder and he doesn't play on Friday, because I bet he'd have a worldie. One good thing is that we play on Friday, and this might affect Lukic, but you know, it's Tuesday evening tonight. That's not very long for these players to be involved. So it wouldn't surprise me if Lukic is not involved whatsoever on Friday night, as in not on the bench. Cedric coming in, I feel like potentially, but he's been nursing an injury recently as well, a very minor one. Duffy, you know, we haven't even spoken about him. Duffy, he hasn't even been involved anyway when he's here. So I have to question slightly why he would want to sign permanently. Maybe he's happy in London. I would expect that next season Duffy will go out on loan, but I guess maybe we come on to him now. I mean, I don't think it's a bad bit of business getting him permanently. He's probably a leader in the dressing room. And for a fourth choice centre-back for a Premier League team, he's experienced. I feel like he would do a job if necessary. And, you know, he's clearly not kicking up a big fuss about being a bit part player, which is, you know, credit to him. And what do you think, Jax? I feel like, Kelly, I feel like Duffy, he is hogging the number 5 shirt, but I do like him. He's got literally more numbers on the back of his shirt than he's got Premier League minutes this season, which is 4. But I am quite happy that out of Dan James and Duffy, either going back, staying, making them permanent, I feel like this was my preferred out of the 4 options that you've got there.
Yeah, look, I think Duffy had a poor game against Crawley. I seem to remember he played that one. He came against Bees and was we saw it out. But yeah, I think I feel a bit sorry for him, because it feels like we're sort of using him as like a puppet to sort of make way for Cedric. I was about to say make way for Noddy, but Cedric comes in. He played second fiddle to Kenny Tete, and but you know, Duffy, he'll be begging for mercy to get some minutes. Obviously, it just keeps on going, doesn't it? But
Jack, it gets better than that, because Crystal Palace have just tweeted a GIF of a conga because they're signing Sambi Lokonga. And I think that is
really
fantastic.
Oh, that's excellent.
That is fantastic.
Will downstairs will be delighted with that. Will, if you're watching, then happy days for Sambi Lokonga and Crystal Palace. But yeah, no, Duffy, feel a bit sorry for him, but I don't necessarily think he's going to get a ton of minutes. But then again, an injury to Ream or Tosin or Diop, and suddenly, it's Shane, you're up. Someone's saying that Yakushlu's being linked. What, from West Brom? I don't believe that for 1 second, but we could slightly touch on Sander Berge and the fact that didn't really come to fruition.
Yes. I mean, he would have been another player that can play in the 8 role, who offers a lot in terms of driving teams forward. He's very good at progressing up the pitch. I don't think he's had as good a season as you might think this season in the Championship. I think he peaked in that. Sorry, I was talking about Sander Berge.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But I feel as if... by the way, Yakushli, he was linked when we were last in the...
That was a couple of years ago he was linked.
That'd be an okay signing.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I remember writing a who is for him, so that's...
Retweet it, Jack. It's time to get it back up. I've forgotten who he is. Write it again. Sander Berge would have been a good one, but 20 million, I think that is quite steep. So I have to admit, I'm not gutted that one hasn't happened.
Yeah, I was saying to my brother earlier, actually, that I feel the same emotions I feel about the Sander Berge one with the Dan James one, because we were linked with Dan James for 20 million. And I was like, I don't really want to spend 20 million on Dan James. And obviously in hindsight, like that would have been a bit of a disaster anyway. It does feel like Sheffield United are going to get promoted, which means Newcastle have won. So they're through to the final of the Carabao Cup. I do feel like Sheffield United will probably go up in second place behind Burnley. Yeah. And that means Berge will obviously be playing Premier League football. So his need to leave is probably... Or obviously Blades with their financial situation might need to cash in on him. That's obviously why the deal was tempting for the Blades heading into deadline day, Jack. Your thoughts on what could have been with Sander Berge?
I completely agree with Joe. I like Sander Berge, and I remember when he was linked, all three of us were getting slightly giddy about the prospect. But look, it is a lot of money, and I don't think we're in the position, where in terms of abiding by FFP, where we can this window be splashing money left, right, and centre. We're kind of in a decent, because of where we are in the league. It's not necessary to spend the money that we have, and that this having a quiet window, if you will, allows us in the summer to really splash the cash, especially if one or two leave. Tosin and Ashley Robertson have both been rumoured with moves away. But yeah, I think Sander Berge would have been a decent player, but it is a lot of money, and when you consider that we've just signed Sasa Lukic for about 10 million, and obviously it's a 4.5 year deal, so it's split over the four and a half years, whatever. So it's what, 2.5 million a year. It's a lot smarter piece of business than Sander Berge, I think, personally.
So some news I just saw about 5 minutes ago, which was quite surprising. It's got nothing to do with Fulham, but it's Matt Doherty is going to Atletico Madrid, but they've terminated his contract at Spurs, so it's not a loan. They've terminated his contract. He's going with the Trippier route, isn't he? So in a few years, he'll be at the Toon and be the best fullback in the league.
Mate, Newcastle tonight. Quite annoyingly good, actually. Jack, just to say, you both made great points on Berge, and I think it's important to just mention that it's 20 million for someone that is probably not guaranteed to start, which I think is too much, because you've got Harrison Reed and you've got Sasa Lukic coming in, both probably competing for that same role. I think it's too much. And what is interesting, and Billy Gray in the comments made a great point, that's 20 million to be played with either now or to keep into the summer. If we were willing to spend that money, I don't think it was an alternative to Lukic, which cost about 8 million,
it was on top of.
It was on top of. So, what's happening with that money? Well, probably a couple of it's going on Duffy. But aside from that, where's the rest? And, it gives us a bit more freedom now, probably not within the next 56 minutes, but probably the summer to buy another player. And you can get some really quality players for that price. Remember, that is a good few million more than we got João Palhinha for. That is more money than we've spent on, I think, anyone in our squad currently other than Mitrovic. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, the Andre links and the Pablo Mai links that could be revisited in the summer, and it's incredibly refreshing because, Joe, in the previous times we've done these live streams, we would be frantically checking our phones and seeing if there's any late stuff. But because of the position we're in the table, because of the targets we've been targeting in the window and looks like they're coming in today, I am as chill as a cucumber. Like, honestly, I
don't think that's the saying. I don't think that's the saying.
Cool as a cucumber. So honestly, I'm just very satisfied. This guy saying Brandon Williams on loan to Fulham about 2 hours ago. Yeah, the Brandon Williams one is just not a thing.
I'm thinking, do you reckon Brandon Williams was an alternative to Cedric and it just got leaked after
but then he's a left back. He's a left back.
He can play right back. But it would have been a bit of a weird one either way, I think.
Also, the £8 million on Lukic, when you see the amount of money that other clubs are spending, especially below us in the table, it's incredibly refreshing. It's smart, shrewd business, and I think, you know, after years and years of us questioning the board and questioning the deals, I would like to say, and I'm going to touch wood as I do it, hopefully we've turned a corner and actually are doing sensible business. Because even last season with, you know, the Harry Wilson deal and the stuff we did with Liverpool, it was sensible, and it just seems like the last few windows has just been a little bit more, okay, actually there is some sensible heads in that boardroom, and we seem to be making all the right decisions. And, you know, we're in a position now where we are, I think, going to stay in the Premier League, Jack. So there really is a summer to look forward to in terms of dealings if we need to dip into the market.
Yeah, I've said to you on the show before that there's a real project to be had here if the club back Marco Silva, and that seems to be what they're doing. But they're not just backing him; they are backing him smartly. You know, there's not really anyone who we've signed really who you can look at and go, that's a silly piece of business. No. Unless I'm thinking of someone, unless I'm forgetting somebody. But even, you know, I mean, there's people who I'm an R about Dan James. Dan James is alone. You know, like that's not a bad piece of business. And if we keep
Babu's fee.
What
the thing is, on paper, none of these deals look bad, I think, is the main thing. And, you know, Mbabu hasn't worked. And someone has just said there, is Mbabu in limbo now? I suppose he is. He's not linked to any moves away, which is a shame because, you know, Cedric is coming in. He's not going to play. He's fourth choice right back now because he's even behind Bobby. What a bizarre situation for him to be in after probably what was the biggest move of his career in terms of finally getting to the Premier League after being linked for what seemed like 5 years now. He finally made it across and it's just not worked out whatsoever.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It really is. And he came with it. The thing is, like, even like the reports that were coming from Wolfsburg fans and journalists in the summer, like he didn't have the best season, and I was getting excited because of his FIFA card back in like his FIFA 14 when he had like 96 pace, which is an incredibly childish and naive way to look at transfers. But should be interesting to see how Tyrese Francois plays a part in the rest of this. Let's get some comments up because I feel like, you know, 269 people. We're incredibly grateful. Let's involve some of the viewers. Should be interesting to see how Tyrese Francois plays a part in the rest of the season and how much experience he gained out on loan. When did he go? Oh, he went to Croatia, didn't he?
He was in Croatia, but I think it might have been cut short from because of like an injury or something. But
he's back at Motspur Park, I think.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't see Tyrese Francois for the remainder of the season. To be brutally honest with you, obviously we've got rid of Chalobah and Onuma, but you've now got Polinia, Reed, Lukic, Kearney,
even Harris,
Pereira. I can't really see Francois even getting a sniff.
By the way, this is true, but we're breaking rules here.
It'd be even ruder to show my haircut live to the masses, to be honest with you, Luke.
It's so sharp, it would cut through the screen.
This is a great comment, but I'm afraid to say I saw it tweeted by someone else earlier, so you're gonna have to give that person credit. The last minute hour deal is gonna hit like crap. I definitely saw that tweet from someone on Twitter earlier.
But what if it was Fulham 43-1?
It could be. It could have been.
Twitter,
then don't upset the rhythm, honestly.
That's one I've just seen. We haven't Kevin McDonald to Exeter. That's quite a nice move for him. To be fair,
could you imagine like crossfield ball from McDonald, Stansfield chests it down and volleys it top bins? We'd all be in raptures.
Fantastic.
Score prediction for the Chelsea game. I generally think it was me. Okay, fair enough then. If it was you,
I'll go 2-2. I'll back a Desmond. I'll back. I think it'll be quite an entertaining game, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'll back a little Desi.
I'm also thinking a draw. I'm thinking a João Palhinha goal, and then he jumps into the stand and gets his 8th booking of the season. But I am going 1-1. But I am a bit more nervous than I was for the home game, and I think that's shown in the fact I predicted a draw. I predicted a win in the home game, and we did win, thank God. But I am nervous for this one.
I'm actually going to put my neck out here and say that Fulham are going to win by 2-1.
Fantastic. I love it.
I actually don't think I'd be able to cope mentally and physically if we'd done the double over Chelsea. I actually don't think I'd be able to do it.
The Jack and Joe show would be no more because we'd have no limbs left to function.
I'd have to go to Bromley Maidenhead on Saturday. Just no thoughts on that game whatsoever. Mentally, I'm just back in the shed end.
Charlie Adam. What's his name? Charlie
Adam.
Charlie Adam scores a hat trick, but yeah, it's the shit. I love it. I'm going to back us to win, and I'm actually going to back us to do something that we've done in West London before, albeit it was a 3-0 lead. I think we're going to take a 2-0 lead.
Wow. Okay.
And they'll peg us back. I think we'll score 1 in the first half. I think it'll be someone like Harrison Reed.
Wow.
Just pops up at the edge of the box, and one of those efforts of like a Ryan Fredericks versus QPR all those years ago, just deflects, keepers like stood still.
By the way, this is so specific. If it happens, then I'm just severely concerned
as well.
Oh God,
Lukic puts one into the top tier of the shed end. I think we go 2 up through Mitro, and then they get a goal back through like Mudryk, and it's all very boring because it's his first goal and everyone's raving about it. Even though, we're not going to get into it. So, right, we've done Chelsea, we've done Sunderland. We can't really touch on Leeds because it's not a game we're going to be playing yet. But we could touch on the replay. I mean, we've just said that we're not going, but in terms of the game, I'm still scared. You know, the fans are going to be well up for it.
Yeah, I think we need to play a stronger team this time round from the start, because I don't think we'll get a better chance of getting to Wembley in the next few years. The run's been kind. And I feel like, make them think a bit more, put Mitrovic up front instead of Vinicius. By the way, worth mentioning, a rule that I didn't know was a thing, was that we can only play players that were registered for the initial game on Saturday. So, for example, Sasa Lukic would not be eligible to play regardless
against
signing today. No, he's not allowed to play because he wasn't registered for the original game.
So okay, right, okay.
That's clever. So it would be the same if Sunderland. If Sunderland signed a new striker today, because obviously, unfortunately, Stewart's out for the season. I think then they couldn't play him in the replay. So I don't know actually who their backup striker is, because they brought on a midfielder when he went off on Saturday. So that is an advantage. And, I hope we take advantage. I hope we play a strong team, and I hope we get an early goal, because that's what they did against us. And I feel like we'd be hard to break down if we actually took a lead there. I feel like
we're a professional job.
It's easier to play against us when you're playing on the break, but when you're actually having to come onto us, I would almost back our players to see it out, I think.
Jack, what would be a nightmare is if we go to extra time in that game with the Forest game on the Saturday?
Yeah, it would be. I'll be honest with you. I'm quite confident going into this game. I think we're gonna. I think Marco will be aware of the opportunity here, and I think he will play. In fairness, I thought the team on Saturday was stronger than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think we'd see the likes of Tete and Palhinha. But I think yeah, he'll play a strong team. I think Mitrovic will start, and I think Robertson will start instead of Kurzawa. And yeah, I'm confident. I'm confident. And then you go into that Leeds game. Obviously, we're not going to go into it, but it's not Man City, and I think that's the real positive to take. So we've got if we get through, it's a winnable cup tie at home, and then you get through that, and then all of a sudden you're one round from Wembley, and then the dreams are shattered when City away is drawn in the quarterfinals.
Oh my God! I can't think of anything worse than that. Although there is actually one thing potentially worse, which oh my God! If I hear love, yeah, when you hear that dun, 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 at the end of full time, it's just like get me back in the Thames in London.
I think my favorite part of City away is the blue moon before the game. They're like the really slow blue moon, and they goes, "I said blue moon." It's like a really.
My favourite part of City away is leaving the Etihad and not having to return for another season.
Wow, Keylor Navas to Forest. Jeez. That's,
put him in nanny.
We'll see him in a couple of weeks then, won't we? At home.
Yeah. Ooh, Keylor Navas.
There was rumours today as well.
It's
not going to happen because Keylor Navas has joined. There were rumours today that Forest were going to look at Sergio Rico.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
someone in one of my lectures today was asking me about Sergio Rico. And I was like, well, he was pretty average 4 seasons ago, so something tells me he's not going to be a world beater now. But
do you remember when we were linked to him this summer to speed up the Leno deal? Like for one
we
day, we got linked.
Leaders.
Thing is, Rico, I feel like decent shot stopper. Actually, liked him as a shot stopper, but in terms of commanding his area,
awful.
I haven't seen many worse than him, which is just crucial. What's that?
Felipe's joined Forest as well. That's official.
Right.
And we're obviously playing them in a couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting. Actually, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of things. Obviously, Cedric will probably be the only signing tonight, apart from obviously Sasa Lukic. But when it comes to
Duffy,
the summer,
don't forget.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry,
Duffy.
I'm so sorry, Duffy. Yeah, that's no disrespect. Like genuinely,
no, I know
it
doesn't feel like a new signing because he's a Fulham player.
Never would I thought the Penfest would be quoted on the Fulhamish channel. Look, Keylor Navas, every time I hear his name, I think of that meme, and I think it's absolutely sensational. I just want to get your thoughts. Like, let's say we finish, let's just half glass. I say we finish 11th in the Premier League, which I think is fine. Like, we would have taken that at the start of the season. I just feel like any business incomings we do in the summer, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'm fully behind this. I trust it. Or is that a bit naive of me? Are we going to have triple S, which is second season syndrome?
I don't think we will, to be perfectly honest with you. I know it's very easy to say that now when you're halfway through season 1 and you're 7th in the league, but and unless we have a drastic change in the squad, and which I don't think we will. I think we might lose 1 or 2, but unless we have a drastic change in the squad, I really can't see that happening. I think Mitrovic will stay, and he's obviously pivotal to the way that we play football. The Solomon one is intriguing as to whether he will stay. Obviously, he's only on loan. So whether he stays or not is another thing. But yeah, I think for the most part, you've got to back the recruitment. Players like Willian and Andreas Pereira, I remember when they were rumoured, was like, oh God, like why on earth are we signing these players? And they've both turned out They've both turned out to be real pivotal members of this side. So I think you've got to back whatever players we go in for. And, the recruitment process appears to be a lot better than it was a few seasons ago, where it was just chuck money at whoever. It seems to be smart. We're spending shrewdly and only paying big bucks for players who actually warrant the big bucks.
And of course, there's the danger of, it's all well and good having a very, very good season, but it does mean that, I can name 3 players who are going to be in the radar of teams. That's Paulinho, Robinson, and Tosin, who obviously we already know about. City rumoured to be in for Robinson this window, but they might wait till the summer. Joe, your thoughts on how we could sort of deal with it? I know it's, we could talk about this in May and whatever, but it's worth speaking about now because we have assets. And we said this a few weeks ago. It's the first time we've had assets that are worth millions and millions of pounds for God knows how many years. And obviously with the inflated market now, it's even more. So Joe, what are your feelings towards like Paulinho and Robinson and Tosin in the summer?
First off, I think that Paulinho is in the same boat as Mitro, where I think it's regardless of price, don't sell. I think they're too important. when it comes to players like Tosin and Robinson, as much as I don't particularly want either of them to leave, I feel like it's a sell if the price is right situation. And Robinson and Tosin, I believe, after this summer will have 1 year left on their deals. I think that's the point where you either tie them down to a new deal or you have to cash in. And I feel like the asking price for Tosin will be lower. I feel like anything from 20 million up probably gets you picking up the phone. With Robinson, I feel like we should be asking for a bit more, because I feel like the clubs that will be in for him could be like the likes of Man City, who have a bit more in their pocket. By the way, I don't think he fits into that system at all. I think he's very strong defensively, but I think his final ball is just not good enough. Right. And I think in a Man City team, that is the exact opposite way around that you want. There you go. Luke Kelly, he knows ball, as they say.
I wonder where he gets it from.
Yeah. I feel like Duffy signing also slightly negates the need for us to hang on to Tosin at all costs, just because if we don't sign Duffy permanently, then that's 2 centre-backs you need to recruit in addition to if Tosin was to leave, replacing him. Now we're in a position where we probably have Ream, even though he'll be a bit older, no reason why he can't do one more season at this rate. He's playing the best football he's ever played. Diop will still be fine next season. And then you've got Duffy as a backup. It probably means that you can get 1 more centre-back rather than needing 2. And this is why I like the way we're building our squad now. And another midfielder would have been great, but not priority. We have Lukic now. That's a player that I was expecting we'd get in the summer. I was thinking that we might get a bit of a short-term option similar to the Cedric deal for the rest of the season. Someone like a Decore, who we were linked to, who's probably more of a stopgap than a longer-term option. I feel like Lukic is a longer-term option as long as it all goes well. And I think that we're putting ourselves in a position where I would back us to replace Robinson or Tosin if the money was right. I don't want to lose either of them, but Jack, you said it perfectly before. The way we're running our business at the moment, we've been signing good players for the last few windows, and I've been impressed with our business. You look at the back four that we played against Chelsea. This is even looking at Diop. You had Leno in goal for upfront sum of 3 million. You had Tosin, who cost like 2. You had Robinson, who cost 1. I know it was weird circumstances with Wigan's situation.
Yeah.
You've got Ream, who cost nothing practically, and he had Tete as well. And Joe, that is a very kind donation. You don't have to do that, but thank you very, very much for your support. And I think as a result, we've got to answer this question immediately, which is, what would you all take as a final league position if you were offered it now?
17th.
100%. Like
it's got to be.
Yeah, I feel like I would not. I would obviously be a bit annoyed that we've dropped off, but anything 17th upwards, we've matched what we wanted. If I'm being a bit greedy, top half, I would absolutely snap your hand off for top half.
Yeah.
But I would now, as long as we're safe, I'd prioritise the cup run, because why not?
Joe, thanks so much for the donation. Because of that, it's now the Jack and Joe and Jack and Joe show. My head's going to explode. Brilliant stuff. Thanks so much for the donation. A few comments from Alexander here about Harry Souttar. He's actually off to Leicester, so suggesting him as a centre back for us, albeit would be a great signing given his performances at the World Cup for Australia, and he hasn't had the best season for Stoke so far. But he's off to those Foxes.
I'd just like to interject as the Darmesh of. Got some breaking news. It's not Fulham, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
It's been reported by Damasio, the Sky Sports international reporter. AC Milan have rejected the bid from Everton for Olivier Giroud.
Wow.
Which is absolutely just bonkers.
Mate, Everton are going to end up with no Gordon and no signings and no hope apart from Sean Dyche.
Yeah, I think it's an intriguing one with Everton, because I think the only saving grace now is the fact that they have got Sean Dyche. Because I think if you look at like their squad on paper, it's not horrific, and it is. There are players there that would fit the kind of the 4-4-2 that you'd expect Sean Dyche to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the fact that, you look at teams around them, Bournemouth have strengthened, Southampton have been very busy today as well. Leeds have signed McKennie as well. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah.
By the way, Jack, I think it was about this time 2 years ago that you were dancing in a bath when the person in the comments, Josh King, was on his way to Fulham.
He might be wearing this very jumper as well.
Yeah, by the way,
the world needs to see that video. The world needs to see it.
My beard was very bushy. I seem to remember lockdown days, but yeah, they would need Josh King, as our friend Joe Ryan says. Also, apparently, Tyrese Francois is still out on loan. He's just back at Motspur Park for treatment.
Oh, okay.
Fulham linked with Dwight Gale.
Everton also as well. Apparently, I refuse to believe this is true. Apparently, Enzo Fernandez's contract with Chelsea is until June 2031.
It's as in that's the contract.
Allegedly so, and I might be being add on here, but I've seen two different blue tick people say that it's till 2031. And that's just so silly if that's the case.
I've got a fun game for you guys. I've just seen that Domingos Quina has just signed for a championship team. Who do you think it is on loan?
I regret to say that I know who it is. So it's all on you.
I don't know. Is it Rotherham? It's
yes, it is
Rotherham. That is Sky Bet knowledge.
No, those tricky Millers, man, with Domingos Quina, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 vibes. He's going straight back. By the way, how long is this guy's Watford contract? He's been going out on loan for years. He's on one of those Chelsea ones where it runs for about 10 years and he just gets loaned out every single season. But I do hope that he actually finds his form, because I was a bit sad it didn't work out for him at Fulham. I was excited when he joined. Fingers crossed he can reignite his career somewhere, because he has been going out on loan here, there and everywhere. Barnsley last season, then he went out on loan again. I can't remember where.
If he got a championship medal, did that ever get found out whether he got a medal or not?
Oh,
someone's just asked the same question. Will Maycock. It's a good question. Maybe surely if you're in the comments and you've got a bit of time on your hands, can you find out how many recordings do you need? Because
10. He didn't play 10.
He didn't make 10. No,
and he played. I think he played 1.
Because Paulo Gazzaniga got 1, but I don't think he played 10 games.
No, he played against Coventry, Middlesbrough. Played like 3 or 4. He played against Huddersfield, I think.
But because they got a lot of them got because they got didn't they
5
get the
games.
medals? They got the medals at Luton, didn't they? So the Sheffield United game wouldn't have mattered if you needed the appearance.
And Gaz actually played that game as well.
Yeah, so I don't really know what it is.
Near post. But apparently he's having a storming season. Where he's in Spain at the moment. Apparently he's having a really good season.
He saved a 90th minute penalty the other day. He was already man of the match. He saved that, and then they gave another penalty away, and it stole his clean sheet. And I was actually gutted for him, because when he signed, let's not forget, someone's pointed out there, it's actually Fulham FC 43-1 again, that we thought he was going to be first choice, and he started as first choice, and we thought that he was the signing that we would then go up into the Premier League and he would remain first choice.
Yeah,
it was completely out of nowhere that he was suddenly at Motspur Park the same day as Wilson. Jeez.
I still can't. It comes back to me every few minutes. I can't believe that we're just not panicking. You know what I mean? Like, even in the summer, we were sort of like, oh, we want that extra midfielder in.
Well, I can't find the panic button. So
it is Sanjay. It is actually till 2031, the Enzo Fernandez deal.
Oh wow,
that's incredible!
Thank you so much, Sanjay. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Sanjay. That's it means a lot, because honestly, that reminds me, if you're not subscribed, please get us to 5K. We're so close. Like, it's almost like it's taking the mick how close we are now. It's almost tantalizing. We'd love to hit 5K. I don't have one of those, like subscriber counters you get up. Like a lot of YouTubers get up when they hit a big number. But we're about 40 away, and if there's anyone watching out the 274 of you who are not subscribed, if you click subscribe, we'll get to 5K and we'll have a big old party about it, because we've been waiting for that moment for quite a while, Jack and Joe.
Yeah, and we should probably also use this opportunity to there's a link in the description to join our Leveler community on Telegram. Will Jones, thank you so much. But you can also, if you're not already in it, join the Telegram community, where We even have our own specialized chat for transfers. And if you're in there in the summer, you might want to turn your notifications off because you'll be flooded by me and Jack sharing every single Fulham related tweet, whether reliable or not. But we do normally say if it is or not based on who the source is. It's a lot of fun. We've been going the whole winter window, previous windows as well. And it would be really great to get you involved. We can chat about who the latest signings are going to be. And we've even got some comments going in there right now. We've got people debating, if Lukic is going to play instead of Reed. It's really fun debate, and it can continue it after the video. So the link's in the description. It'd be great if you could sign up, and it really does help support Fulhamish as well. But I think... EFL
rulebook says to be eligible for a championship winners medal, players must have been named on the team sheet for at least 25% of the club's fixtures. That's the bench as well. Medals above those will be in the club's cost. I wonder how much a medal is. I wonder if we could all get one, like all the fans, especially those who went to every game. That'd be a good one. Sian Rogers just subscribed. Thanks. Well, I mean, honestly, this is great. Honestly, we'd love to. I'm actually going to get the counter up now and have a gander and see if
the one I've got now says we're 20 away.
Oh my God, we're halfway there living on a prayer.
How many people are watching right now?
256.
There's definitely 20 that haven't subscribed.
We plugged the channel. Right, let's have a gander. Yeah. Also, we're waiting for an announcement on Cedric, aren't we? We really are.
Yeah.
It is a fun little game. What do we reckon the pun's going to be?
Oh.
Yeah.
Something about something Harry Potter related. My boy, maybe. Cedric Diggory.
It's gonna be hashtag Rick and Duffy about it's just Cedric and Shane Duffy just shaking hands.
That is fantastic. Sorry, phenomenal shout there. Said and done.
Yeah, love that.
Fantastic.
If only we were signing Richard Dunn.
What was Duffy's pun when he signed in August?
I'm gonna have to find. Let me do some digging.
Because surely they can't reuse it again, but they just might.
4.99.
Oh my goodness.
4.99. This is ridiculous.
We have been pushing for this for a long time. I feel
like we just get some party poppers for the 5K. We're so close. We only announced transfers on the minute of 11 o'clock. Well, that's not true, Matthew, because we literally... he's Suarez. Oh, he's Soars. I like that from Sammy James. Happy birthday to Sammy James.
Happy birthday, Sammy.
He's Soars. I love that, actually. That's brilliant.
He
shoots, he soars.
The Shane Duffy original pun was tough stuff.
But that's awful. By the way,
DUFF.
I mean, I can understand. I feel like the link to Duffy only came out on the day, like the morning of.
Yeah, because it was
the day before the Liverpool game.
I literally woke up and Shane Duffy had signed, and I'd never been more confused about anything.
I can't believe we're on 4.99. This is so exciting. Oh, Keylor Navas, John Percy. Keylor Navas has completed his medical in Paris and is set to sign for Nottingham Forest. What? Poor Dean Henderson, eh? Although he is out injured.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Henderson's out for a couple more weeks. If Navas can nail down that place, then it's a disastrous second half of the season for Henderson because there's no more cup football.
He's out.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
We're on 4.99. I like genuinely. We just need
absolute head loss
less than 10.
Cab.
It would just be so nice to hit 5K on the live stream, but I feel like probably everyone watching is subscribed. Like, if you're not subscribed after this plea, you must like have a heart of coal. But we'll get there. We'll get there by hook or by crook, by Matt Crooks. Yeah, it's that part where we just don't really have anything to talk about. I suppose, bring back Abu Kamara.
The question there: does Enzo start against us? I'd be very surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he will feature in the matchday squad just because Chelsea are so thin on players at the moment. But It's very. You got to remember he's still in Portugal, and the game is about 3 days away. So I'd be very surprised if he started against us.
What on earth is going on here?
Jack Kelly's lost his head. Something's happened.
Luke's just funny comment from Luke. Right, okay. I'm going as red as my jumper here. Should we do some subscriber questions? Some subscriber questions to finish.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so get in your questions. Not ones about doing the wives. Yeah. Okay then. Obviously, João Felix is out of the game on Friday night. Enzo Fernandez is doing a medical right now.
Yeah, I'm quite glad Felix is out because from memory of that Chelsea game, he was actually probably their best player. Yeah. Ignoring the red card, he was probably their best player. And I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with Mudryk because he looked quite good when he came on against Liverpool, albeit he was against James Milner. So it'd be intriguing to see what happens there because I imagine he'll start. And
we've done it. We've hit 5K.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've done it.
Days.
I can't believe it. Brilliant.
Sounds
young man.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it? If we signed Ashley Young and the pun was young man and it was just him doing the YMCA. Wow. Thank you so much, guys. We've been pushing for this for a long time. And I'm glad we finally got there. Thank you for all your support throughout the years. I mean, we've done so many of these deadline day streams. The three of us have made countless videos, and you've always been great liking and subscribing and commenting. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's obviously a proud moment. You know, this channel started. I think it started in just before the playoff final. Back when we played Villa, there was a few like match day vlogs that we used to do. Obviously, we did the fan cams, and it was SW6 Essential, and Whiteboard, and Jack and Joe's show, and it's and obviously the Riverside update before the COVID pandemic. So it's a nice moment. Here's the 6K and beyond. And obviously, I think Fulham are going to stay in the Premier League. I think we all think that Fulham are going to stay in the Premier League. So we'd love to just grow the channel more and do some more cool content on this channel over the summer into next season. This could all go horribly wrong when we pick up 1 point in our next 14 games. But
14, Jesus. 14.
But guys, what should we do now? Because we don't really need to be like, oh my God, Cedric's here, it's done. Because I think everyone knows it's.
Should we hang on till Q2, see if anything's announced, and if not, then we can all enjoy it on Twitter.
Yeah, let's do that. It's been a fun stream as always, though. Always fun.
I'm just going to scroll through, see if during the 5K madness we missed any questions. That was
some lovely comments, by the way. Thank you, everyone. And Adam, big congratulations, Adam. I saw you've commented watching from the hospital room. Already got your signing of the season, and
congratulations, Adam.
I'd rather that than Cedric, and I'm big on Cedric, so that says it all.
Yeah, massive congratulations to Adam for the birth of his new daughter. Very, very exciting stuff. This YMCA stuff is just. I'm actually just going full screen, so I stop giggling because it's really difficult.
I'm just scrolling through.
Now you've hit 5K. Does that mean you'll have better lighting and makeup?
Tell you what, my head's always in front of this.
Now we've hit 5K, I won't wear a hat. We'll see what happens from there.
I'm actually in my brother's room, and if I turned off the light, there actually are some like luminous lights that go on around the back here. But I thought that would look a bit silly for the live stream. Henry
Stanley commented like a while ago, what's the best away day so far this season?
Ooh.
And for me, it was Forest. I think Forest was...
We couldn't see the goals.
It was thoroughly enjoyable from start to of the first. Although because we went 1-0 down, and Jack, you were directly in front of me, and I was just quite entertained for the first half because your head was absolutely just in the
It was on Mars.
It was so funny just to watch.
Tell you what, I've got to have a big dishonourable mention for Wolverhampton Wanderers away, as they repeatedly attempted to scorch off my eyebrows for no reason at the start of the game with their stupid fire. And then the penalty miss, 0-0 draw. Oh, well, at the time I was actually...
Train strikes as well. Train strikes.
Yeah, the journey there and back was actually just very, very difficult compared to what it would be normally.
I was thankfully at Maidenhead that day, so I missed that one.
The Leeds game was really good because we won, obviously. And Leicester was good as well because, like, when we beat Leicester, I was like, oh my god, we're actually like really good. We actually might stay up. But I think Leeds was special because there's so many funny match day vlogs from the Leeds end losing their heads. But it also was a great day, and going like 3-1 up as well was good.
There's also a pretty good. There's a pretty good vlog from the Fulham end from the Forest game. From memory, there was a guy.
Oh yes, he was in the corner. Yeah,
I think they capture all the goals.
Yeah, there's like a moment. I think it's when the Polinia goal comes in, and he kind of like falls over, and the camera like pans the away end, and it's just absolute carnage.
I mean, when that Reed goal went in, I fell over, and I was literally watching from Croatia, just sat down. So I was loving it. My stream was about 15 minutes behind.
I remember looking at the jacket; he was literally redder than the shirt he was wearing now. Even in my face, telling me to get bookmark Sky Scanner because we're going on a European tour. It was just absolutely so heinous.
Oh dear. Look, this has been so much fun. It always is. We'll probably go for the next 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, so we've got Forest next after the Sunderland replay in Chelsea. I know, obviously, actually, no, we're going to cover it next week, I suppose, but with all these new signings, someone actually put in the comments, Forest is signing I can't remember who it was now, but they've got Renan Lodi and they've got Felipe. They need like one more to almost have like a back four of Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. But they'll be a tough test, and I'm sure. And obviously they've hit form at the right time. And all right, who's going down then? Who's going down?
I think Everton's a banker for me now. I think Everton's a banker.
Really?
I don't really know because my original prediction was Southampton, Everton, and Bournemouth, but Everton have now got Sean Dyche. Southampton have, on paper, spent quite well. I think Bournemouth will still go, but Bournemouth have spent.
Yeah.
Leeds have also just signed Weston McKennie.
Yeah.
No one's too good to go down, but if anyone are, it's going to be West Ham. Wolves are obviously still down there, and Leicester have still got Tielemans and Maddison, so I think they'll be fine. I genuinely don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so tough.
People saying Everton, Bournemouth, West Ham. Apparently, Chris Martin's just left Bristol City by mutual consent. How far has he fallen? Wow.
We are not.
But I was told the other day, or I saw the other day, that he was looking for a League One move anyway. So maybe he's going to get picked up.
He is normally looking for a move when he's under contract, isn't he? So
brilliant.
I feel like my three are Bournemouth, even though I think they've actually invested well the last couple of days. Some really impressive signings. You know, you can't say they haven't gone for it. I think that Southampton will go as well. The third one is the one that I'm really, really stuck on. And at the moment, I'm going to go for West Ham because I really don't think they've got enough goals in that team at all. I think that Wolves have improved. I think that Everton will improve under Dyche. I think that Leeds have enough goals. I think that Forest have enough points and will probably just do about enough to get through with their home games. Their home form's all right. I think that Palace and Leicester will be fine. And oh my goodness me, that is very, very kind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the support. $15 from America. I seem to remember you. I was doing the 3-word reviews, and you won when you were selected for the name of the podcast. I seem to remember. But thank you so much for the donation.
Very kind.
It really means a lot. $15. I mean, it's fantastic, and obviously, you know, to hit 5K tonight as well. It's been a really wonderful stream. So thanks so much for the support, everyone, and everyone who's donated as well. Brilliant. I'll probably just say, I think Bournemouth's team has obviously got better with the signings they've made, but I think the manager's going to let them down in terms of
I've
Gary O'Neill.
Bournemouth the banker one for me that I think are definitely gone.
Really?
Yeah. Gary O'Neill.
It's the manager, 100%.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced at all.
And then Saints, I think they had a bounce with who is it?
Nathan Jones.
Nathan Jones, sorry, yeah. And I think that might run thin now. I can't. Everton, because Sean Dyche will come in. Yeah, they might win a couple games, but have you seen their fixtures? They've got Liverpool in the Merseyside derby in a couple of weeks' time. They've still got to host, like Fulham, which is not going to be easy. And I just absolutely, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating, and obviously there's a conversation to have down the line. We've hit 10:45. There's been no announcement from Fulham, as I can see. No,
yeah, nothing.
That's why FCA stuff is getting out of hand.
I've just seen Twitter.
Leicester. Oh
wow!
Thanks a lot, Luke.
Right, thank you so much.
£8.99, Luke. Well done, lads, on the amazing content. Honestly, I think this might be our highest. I remember we got last January. I think we had a lot of donation, but this is our highest in terms of donations. And it's really, really humbling to see. And we don't ask for it, but it's just it just makes us very, very happy. And I think, should we leave it there, guys?
I don't think we're going to get much else tonight. I mean, we'll probably have the announcements, but I don't know when.
Yeah, I'd imagine maybe just after 11. Any final thoughts from the both of you before we go?
I was just going to say, I think good window, assuming that both these things happen. I think we've got what we needed to do. Could be a bit greedy, say another midfielder would have been nice, but you could all go on for ages. Another strike would be nice. So we filled the holes that I think we needed to. Had great fun tonight on the stream. And really excited now to go to Chelsea on Friday and hopefully start our good form again.
And I'll say this, even if we lose to Chelsea, as much as it'll be frustrating, I think it will hurt more than any of the other defeats we've had this season, and they will go above us in the table. Just remember where we are in the table and where we could have been, if this all went pear-shaped, and where we have been in the past, especially after defeats to Chelsea, losing under Parker in his first game in charge, losing when Conte won the ball off Seri early on, and it was disastrous. It was rubbish. So just remember where we are, and don't. I'm certainly not good. I probably will lose my head, but I'm not going to, cry myself to sleep about it.
Basically, just ignore whatever Jack Kelly tweets after the game on Friday if we lose. Just ignore it. Just remember this.
Just remember this moment we hit 5K and doing the YMCA. Stroudly, your final thoughts as well?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Joe. Very smart transfer window. Shrewd recruitment in necessary places. We didn't really need to be signed any first teamers. Obviously, Sasa Lukic probably will be a first teamer. Just plugging a few gaps, and thoroughly enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much for having me on. It's nice to see that me and Joe Sansom can be in the same room at the same time. It is possible.
It is possible.
Thank you. I know obviously I've not been as frequent as these two, as is obviously the Jack and Joe show, but 5K is an unbelievable achievement. So thank you, everyone. And the donations as well is incredibly generous. So thank you guys so much.
Cheers, guys. It's been amazing. We'll be back, I think, next Wednesday to talk. Oh, actually, I suppose that's the day of the
tricky. Yeah.
Let's
see what happens.
I wonder whether someone at Fulhamish will be down to do a watch along, given it's on the BBC. That could be quite fun. Hey, I'm just throwing out ideas. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Oh no, it's just on Steam. All right. Take care, everyone. Yeah. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. And thanks for 5K. It's really made our evenings. It really made our transfer window. Come on, Fulham. We'll see you at the bridge.